everyone, welcome to After Class with Ballet for All,
a podcast by two passionate adult ballerinas about all things adult ballet related,
and some random thoughts in between.
We're so glad you're here.
So grab your water bottle
or a cup of coffee
and join us for a quick chat after class. Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of After Class with Ballet for All. Today we have episode 2 where Hannah is walking us through the Adult Ballet Intensive that she attended a few weekends ago. And today we're going to talk about a fun part of it. What did you actually use from all the things that you packed? And what were those things that you packed that you were really glad you had there with you? So welcome, Hannah, to our next episode.
Hi, I know, I'm excited. It's going to be a fun one.
So walk me through everything that you packed, from even your underwears.
So it's funny, right before we left and I had all of my bags sitting out, I was like telling my husband, I was like, this is insane because I'm a really light packer in normal life, but it's so hard with the ballet intensives because you have to bring all of your normal person stuff that you would take on a trip where there was no dancing. And then you have like an entirely second set of things just for the dance portion of the
it's
trip.
Like packing two personalities.
Yes, I
packing
feel
my
like
daily me and packing my ballerina alter ego.
I literally feel like it's double the amount of stuff, and I don't know why. I'm just like, why is there so much stuff? But there is. So I brought a lot.
So what did you pack?
So I have learned from past intensives that I overpacked a little bit on the ballet clothing side. I think the last couple I was always afraid of, what if I need another leotard? And so I would bring like double the amount of leotards that there were days of dancing, just in case I thought I was going to be super sweaty and change it midway through the day or something, which never happened. And so this intensive, I only brought one extra leotard, which I was really glad I did because I ended up using it. And then, of course, tights, warm-ups. I actually kind of what helps me, which I do the same thing actually, even just for my normal clothes packing, is in my mind walking through getting ready for class and like walking out the door to go to the studio. So like, okay, I would put on tights, then a leotard, then a skirt, that, you know, like literally going through the stages of dressing yourself so that you don't forget things. So yeah, leotards, tights, skirts, leg warmers, shoes, of course. I had to bring slippers and point shoes.
How many pairs?
I brought, for point shoes, I brought a couple pairs, but I only used my newer pair that aren't dead. It's just I wanted to wear my dead pair because they're comfortable. I think I mentioned this on the last episode. My ankle's been a little bit iffy, and so I was like, you really should not be wearing dead shoes when your ankle is already iffy. So I wore the harder pair, the newer pair, and then flat shoes. I brought all of my slippers. I have like 3 pairs of slippers that I just keep in my bag at any given time. And I'm going to admit something on this podcast that's kind of embarrassing, but this is why you come, right? I have really, really sweaty feet. Like I sweat through my canvas shoes almost every single class I take, all the way through. Like you can see sweat spots on the outside of my shoes.
I know, me too.
Okay, so it's not just me.
Legs. No, it's not just you. My legs. Like I will be walking into the classroom, and I can feel already getting like, I don't know if it's because the weather in Cuba is humid and hot, because I'm already a little bit I don't know, edgy and excited and nervous, and I feel like if it wasn't because of the thighs, my legs would be just dripping and dripping sweat. Oh, I'm glad it was the only one. I kept this in a secret.
Wow, I literally like, it was funny because even at this intensive, I was like looking around the room at other people's feet, and I'm like, no one else has sweat stains on their ballet shoes. This is such an overshare. I'm like, there's a 90% chance I'm going to edit this out.
So, 3 pair of shoes if you have sweaty feet.
3 pairs of shoes if you have sweaty feet. And then all of the stuff that goes in your point shoes. You know, you're like, I wear toe spacers. And
so for 4 days, you brought 5 leotards. Yeah, for 4 days, 5 leotards and 4 tights, or did you bring an extra tie?
I brought extra tights. I brought like
know you
6
so
pairs of
well.
tights because I was like, oh, what if I, get there and I'm like not
spill some
feeling
coffee.
spill
But
coffee, or if I'm like I'm planning to wear pink tights, but then I'm like, oh, I'm not feeling it. I need my black tights today. I think most adults will understand what I mean, where sometimes you're just lacking the self-confidence to wear pink tights on certain days. So yeah, all that good stuff. And then I brought some recovery items like foam roller, compression boots, all that stuff, which we can talk more about. And then because for me, the intensive I just went to was only about like an hour and a half away from my house, and we were staying in an Airbnb that had like a little kitchenette. We brought food, like some pre-made food, just to save money. So
yeah,
and then to also make sure that I had on hand the things that I would need and want. So mainly like protein-based items. So like I made a ton of tuna salad before we left and put that in Tupperware. I brought a bunch of bananas. I brought protein shakes, peanut butter, just different things that I like wanted to make sure I would have. And then water, of course, and electrolyte powder.
but it's so good to have that on hand. Like if you get there and you first don't have a supermarket nearby because you don't know the area, if you plan to get things to eat there or to buy the strawberries or to buy your banana, and if you plan on that and you get there and there is nothing, then you will be hungry. You won't have enough fuel in your body to keep up with the entire intensive. And we know, like we already have two episodes talking about the importance of nutrition and being an adult ballet dancer. So that's a great idea. And I hope everyone keeps that in mind because, yeah, first, you save time, you save money, and you are prepared just in case there is not options near you. Like you just don't know where the studio is going to be, right?
Yeah, and I think even just for the sake of space, like if you were flying on airplane and you're like, okay, I don't have room to pack out a car full of stuff, I definitely would still say prioritize the things that you're particular about. So for me, there's a very specific type of protein bar that I like and that I know sits well with my stomach. I like the ingredients. It's just the one that I like. And so that would be something where it's like, okay, I'm going to definitely bring those because they're hard to find at the store. So things like that, even if you can't bring like a ton of stuff, at least bringing the things that you are particular about wanting to have.
Yeah.
Because it is nice to have the things that your body is used to and that are kind of normal to your dance routine.
Yeah. Now, what are the things that you brought that you found useful? And then I also want to talk about the things that you didn't need to bring, that you were like, that was too much. So what were those things?
Things that I found really useful that I was so glad I brought. Again, jumping back to food, I was really glad I brought my protein bars that I love. I brought some protein drinks that they don't have to be refrigerated. I mean, I do refrigerate them once I get somewhere where you can, but they're like shelf stable, so you can take them with you in the car. And they're just these little cartons that are 20 grams of protein. And I was so glad I threw some of those in because they were great to just have when I got home from the intensive, just to get some protein in my body really quick. I was really, really glad I brought my foam roller, even though foam rollers are big and they're kind of obnoxious to have. And I always feel funny carrying them into places, like carrying them into hotels or like Airbnbs, because people are like, what is that? But honestly, I used it every day, multiple times a day. And I am honestly convinced, I was just telling my husband before we jumped on to record this episode, that I'm surprised that I'm not that sore. And I don't think that's because the intensive wasn't hard, because it definitely was hard. And I sweat a ton. I was exhausted. Like, I know I worked hard, but I really think it's because I foam rolled every day, multiple times a day. I really think that's why I'm not crazy sore right now. So
I will say, I will definitely back up that and say that, yes, I definitely believe that could be a big reason. Also, the another reason will be that you feel your body really well. You drank lots of water, and that helps so much. But Foam roll, oh my God, number one.
Yeah.
Number one. If they can invent one that you just blow air into it, so it just like pulls back up, and then you just can like store it like really little and whatever, that would be great for everyone to travel with.
That's
But
genius. You should invent that. I bet you could make a lot of money. Did you make an inflatable version that was still had the right amount of pressure? You should
That would
do that.
be amazing. Like, seriously, every time I travel anywhere, like when we do our rock climbing trips, we can never take our foam roll because we have so many things for the climbing, and it's everything very heavy. So everything is steel, so it's very heavy. We can't take the foam roll, but I'm pretty sure that if we could, we would take it.
Yeah, they're the best. They really are. Like, I never, even with as bulky and obnoxious as they are to carry around, I never regret bringing them to a dance event. They're so good. And then I also brought my compression, like the air compression boots. Yeah, I think I talked about one.
I need to say, they are not yours, Hannah. They are not yours.
Yep, keeping me honest. They are technically my husband's that I have officially
taken over.
That are basically completely mine now because I use them almost every single night, and he uses them like once every couple weeks. So I'm like, technically they're his, but really they're mine. But yeah, I brought those again because we were traveling in the car and I didn't have to conserve space. I threw those in, and I was super glad I had those because I wore them every night. And then probably the other thing that I'm most happy that I brought was compression socks. I use a brand, I can actually link them in the show notes, called Apala, and they're not like a full sock. They are more of like a ankle brace kind of fit where they have the heel cut out and the toes cut out. And I wore those, well, I wore one on my right foot all day, every day that we were in class because I've been having some issues with my ankle, and that little extra bit of compression and stability, I felt like really helped. Even if just like mentally, I feel like it helps me to feel a little bit more stabilized around that ankle, especially for doing point work. I would just slip them over my point shoes. It was funny because I looked around the room at one point and like 4 or 5 other people in the class were wearing the exact same compression socks. We were all like, Apala, yep, they're the best. So I will link them in the show notes because they're great.
That would be good.
I highly recommend just owning a pair of those because you never know when you're going to need them.
What would be the things that you pack and you were like, what did I even bring? Did that ever happen? Or you were like, nope, I'm 100% sure that I used everything and everything was very useful.
I'm laughing because I could say that about 90% of the street clothes I brought. I brought an outfit for every day.
Every day?
Thinking that, because for anyone who didn't listen to the last episode I talked about the schedule, and it was kind of different every day. It was about 4 hours of dancing for the bulk of it, but the time that it would start would vary. So I think on one of the days we started at like 2 p.m. Another one of the days we started at like 12:30. So I was thinking in my mind, like, I need to bring street clothes for going out to lunch, going to coffee, whatever. I brought like a black dress because my husband came with me. And so I'm thinking like, maybe I'll get cute one night and we'll go out for a nice dinner. Definitely did not happen. We did go out for coffee and stuff, but I either just pulled on a pair of black leggings that I ended up wearing all 4 days that I was there, or I was so tired and hungry that we went straight to eat from him picking me up from the dance. Yeah. So I went like a total studio rat to fairly decent restaurants, and I'm rolling in all sweaty with hair sticking out. So yeah, it's just funny. I think I've done that at the other intensives I've gone to also. I always overpack on the like street clothes side because you think you're gonna have more energy for getting cleaned up and doing things than you actually will. So just bring a good pair of leggings and a sweatshirt.
And that would work.
All you need. I came home with like a practically full suitcase of untouched jeans and shirts and things I never wore.
I learned that in the worst way possible. I don't know if you remember when I went to Vietnam and I lost my suitcase.
Oh, yeah.
And I have everything ready. And I had So we lost my suitcase, which had all of my clothes, but we didn't lose the climbing gear. The climbing gear was in the other suitcase where I only had a short, a t-shirt, and one underwear.
Oh, no.
And I packed for 11 days on the other suitcase. So I lost that. I got it back the day I was leaving. That's the day I got back my suitcase. And I learned that I just needed underwears, which I got at the nearest shop. I bought an extra short and an extra t-shirt, and I was just spending the entire holidays with those 2 shorts and 2 t-shirts. And I had the best time ever. The best holidays, the best experiences, best stories. So yeah.
Yeah, it was so funny. Again, I don't know why the last couple episodes I'm just oversharing, but here we are. The last day, right after my husband picked me up from the last class, and we were going to get on the road to go straight home. And so I didn't change or anything. I was just in my warm-up jumpsuit, so sweaty because it was the last day and we had just performed our piece.
You gave it all
times. Yeah. And we were at a coffee shop and I was waiting for my coffee and I was like, man, I feel like I kind of stink, huh? And my husband's like, yep, I can smell you from here. And I was like, do I smell like BO? He's like, well, yeah, and just kind of smell like a sweaty dance studio. I was like, oh gosh, I'm out walking around in a coffee shop.
He didn't even tell you. I love that about husband. Whatever, it's okay. No, it's like not.
I know. I was like, well, it is what it is at this point. Sorry, everybody, but
well, it looks like you had the best time, and that's what matters. I think that also another thing is to prove to yourself that, yeah, you can do it. You can join other adult ballet dancers and you just can see that you can do it and it's not impossible.
Yeah, it's always fun to push yourself. And I think just being around other people that have the same passion, it kind of re-inspires you. Yeah. I came home feeling excited to keep training and keep working on, some of the new things I learned. And I think intensives are such a great way to just get that little extra boost of enthusiasm and motivation for your training. And then, yeah, like you said, to kind of prove to yourself that you can push yourself and do things that are a little bit harder, scary, doing repertoire and stuff like that is a little bit out of my comfort zone because it's not something that I do all the time. Like most of the time I'm just taking class. I've never performed ballet or anything. And so, yeah, that's still a little bit like scary for me, learning choreography and then having to do it in front of other people. So it's good, but it's really good to push yourself and to not let fear hold you back from doing things. And so I think for anyone who's on the fence about an intensive.
And it's good as a human being to challenge ourselves and put ourselves in those situations. Like I always joke with my husband, the older we get, the less willing to try new things we are. And I remember I grew up jumping on rivers and I don't know, it's just like doing wild stuff like kids. We would run, no shoes, and just run until you hang into a piece of branch of a tree and jump all the way to a river. And now I did that my entire childhood, never hurt myself, and now I'm like, I'm not jumping in a bungee jumping. Bungee jumping is safe. You have all the harness, you have the whole thing. I'm like, but what if it's just when you were younger, you wouldn't think twice. Challenging ourselves to do new stuff, I think that kind of keeps you on the edge. It keeps you like with that motivation of like, oh yeah, I did it. I can do it again, and why not? So yeah, it's not just the technical part of the ballet or the social part of it. It's just keep challenging yourself as humans. That's very awesome.
Yeah, I read something, I wish I could remember the reference, but just about how it's so important. It's such an important part of building your confidence as a person to make yourself do things that scare you a little bit, because it's like every time you do and you come out the other side, it's like you've proved to yourself that you can do hard things, and that proving to yourself is what gives you confidence to then do the next hard thing. And so it's almost like a snowball effect where it's like the more you push through being afraid to do things and you do it anyway, and you come out the other side and you're like, oh, I did that. Then the next time a hard thing comes up, you're more likely to say yes to doing that, and you push through that. And so it's a really important part of just developing your confidence as a person. And then certainly as a dancer, I think it's really important within dance to be doing that and building your confidence for being able to walk into any class or studio and feel confident, not in an arrogant way, but in a way of just, you're there to learn, and your self-worth isn't tied to, oh, what do other people think of me, or how am I going to do in this class? Like, you just have enough confidence in yourself to walk into a class and accept the challenge.
Exactly.
Yeah, I definitely think that it's really good to just be in that frame of mind of being willing to push yourself and step outside your comfort zone. I think you rarely regret it when you do.
It's true. It's just a way to stay alive, isn't it? Hannah, thank you very much for sharing your experience with us, and we will see you all in our next episode.
Bye, guys.
Thank you for listening to After Class with Ballet for All.
Join the community on YouTube and Instagram, or come dance with us, our weekly Zoom classes for adult ballerinas like you.
Links included in the episode description. Special thank you to our sponsors.
See you next time after class. Podcast produced by Mission Bridge Media.